Today I'm going to show you how to edit urban portraits in Lightroom. Welcome back to another Lightroom editing tutorial. Today I'm going to be editing an urban portrait in Lightroom. So this is the image I have today. It's a really nice portrait taken in an urban location in front of a brick wall and near the curb. And so you can see I was able to add a lot of contrast and detail to the brick wall over here and in the street. And I was also able to make it like a really moody edit. And so let's just look at a quick before. So you can see this is kind of a flat image. There isn't much detail in the brick walls over here or in the street. And overall, I wanted a really moody look. So that's what we're going to be going for today. I also have another urban style preset called Urban Red, and I'll link that down in the description below if you want to check that out. And before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Lightroom editing tutorials. And let me know down in the comments below what other presets or videos you would like to see. So I went ahead and made a virtual copy just to get started with a clean edit. What I'm going to start by doing is making the temperature a little cooler and also adding a little bit of a green tint to it. If you look at a lot of urban portraits and urban images, you can see they're like a bit on the cooler side. There's also the hint of green in there, so I wanted to start by doing that. Also, I want to increase the exposure just a little bit. The image is already pretty well exposed. I just add a little brightness with the adjustments I'm going to be doing with the contrast. And so I'm going to add some contrast here, but I'm going to be adding a little bit more in the tone curve later on. I want to decrease the highlights just so you can start to see some more details. You can see the light kind of went down in the forehead and over here in the wall. I'm also going to increase the shadows so you can see some more details. Alright, so now I'm going to decrease the whites and then decrease the blacks. So you can see this already added some contrast to the image, but it's not what I was going for, so I'm going to be adding a little bit more later on. Also want a lot of detail from the brick wall over here and in the street. I'm going to be adding that texture, which is really going to help with that. Also going to add a little bit of clarity and dehaze so the image isn't too faded. Alright. Now I'm going to decrease the vibrance just a little bit and then increase saturation just to kind of balance out the colors. It's just a quick before and after, just kind of did some minor edits, made the image exposure overall even, and just kind of started with the coloring process. So now I'm going to move on to the tone curve, and we're going to be doing an S curve, and an S curve is very common. That adds a lot of contrast, so it brings down the shadows and brings up the highlights, which helps with that a lot. And so I'm going to start by creating 3 points, one in the shadows, midtones, and highlights. I'm going to bring down the shadows to about right there, and then bring down the midtones just a little bit, and then bring up the highlights. Alright. I also like to bring up the black point and the white point too, just to kind of crush the whites and the blacks. That adds like the more cinematic and moody style to the image that you see in a lot of urban and street photography. So just add a lot of contrast. You can see also brought out some more detail, but it messed with the colors a little bit, so now I want to adjust that through the HSL. The first thing I want to do is adjust the skin tone. You can see the skin tone is a bit off and doesn't look as nice because we messed with the tone curve a little bit, and in a portrait we want to have the skin tones look as natural as possible. So now I'm gonna start by adjusting the reds over a little bit, then adjust the oranges, and then adjust the yellows a little bit as well towards that orange side. There we go. As I adjusted the colors, now I'm going to adjust the saturation of that and decrease the reds, decrease the oranges, and then decrease the yellows as well. You can see that kind of made the skin tone look a lot better, and so it's not too much in your face. And also going to adjust luminance just to lighten or darken a little bit. So I'm going to darken the red and darken the oranges, and then also darken the yellows. There we go. As you can see, this kind of fixed the skin tone and also adjusted some of the bright aspects of the wall over here and in the curb. And so that helps with that. Now we're going to be adjusting the blues, greens, aquas, which kind of helps bring out that moody look in the background over here. So I'm going to adjust the greens over towards more like aqua, and adjust the aqua over towards blue, and then adjust the blues just a little bit as well. I'm going to adjust the saturation. If you look at a lot of urban images, they're always like desaturated, so you can get that really moody look, which is what I'm going to do in this edit as well. And just the aquas a bit more, and then the blues as well. Bring the saturation down. Alright, there we go. I'm also going to adjust the luminance, make it a little darker as well. Alright, bring the aquas down, and also bring the blues down as well. I'm also going to make some slight adjustments in the purple and magenta. Those two colors you don't really see that much, but in this one there's a slight adjustment you can see. And bring down the purple and then bring down the magenta. I'm also going to desaturate those colors as well. Alright, there we go. And I'm going to brighten those up just a little bit as well. Alright, there we go. So this is the adjustments I made in the HSL panel. You can see I made the colors look a lot nicer and it looks more well balanced, and added that moody look to it as well. Now I'm going to be moving on to split toning and just add that overall tint in the highlights and the shadows. I'm going to press Alt or Option to see the color at 100, and then I'm going to bring the hue over to somewhat like an orange look, then increase the saturation as well. And a lot of urban portraits and urban and street photography, they kind of go towards that teal and orange look as well, since it looks really nice, and it also helps bring out that blue in the road and the buildings. That's a really common color combination that people go for in those images. So also I did that as well. So you can see I also added some green as well in the background, but overall this just colored the image, added that slight tint to it as well. I also want to bring out the details. I'm going to sharpen the image a little bit as well, and then mask that towards the edge. And how I do this is I press Alt or Option so you can see where I'm masking it. And normally I want to do it towards like the edges of buildings and stuff like that. And I don't want the whole image to be sharpened, just want a little bit of it. I'm also going to decrease the noise a little bit as well. Alright, there we go. So now I'm going to move on to the camera calibration, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the entire process of how I fine-tune the colors. So what I like to do is take the slider and go all the way to one side and all the way to the other. So you can see this doesn't have that much effect on the image, so I just leave that at 0. Now I go to the red primary and I go all the way to -100, +100. I kind of like what it does at -100, so I'm going to move it towards that side just a little bit and then decrease the saturation. Now I'm going to move on to the greens. Like what it does at +100, so I'm going to adjust that just a little bit and then increase the saturation for that one. And then I'm going to see what the blue does. Alright, I like it towards -100, so I'm going to bring that down. And then for saturation, I'm gonna desaturate it just a little bit. So that's my process of how I fine tune the colors with camera calibration. I don't like using that primary for coloring because I like the HSL and also the curves a little bit more, but I like it for fine tuning the colors. So just a quick before and after with that. And so this is the overall edit I have. It's a really nice moody edit of urban and street photography, especially portraits. And so just a quick before and after, you can see I added a lot of contrast to this image, and I was able to get that moody look as well. And so this is how you edit urban portraits in Lightroom. Thank you so much for watching today's tutorial on how to edit urban portraits in Lightroom. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe for more Lightroom editing tutorials, and let me know down in the comments below what other presets or videos you would like to see. Thanks for watching.